What's up, Westfield?
We're here to talk about ways you can integrate technology into your day-to-day to help you be techie as heck.
I'm Kristen Morris.
I'm Shelly Knapp.
And I'm Lauren Kersey.
And this is your TechRocks podcast. All right, welcome to episode 6. Today we have our first guest podcaster, Lauren.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey. So today we're going to talk a little bit about technology and how the teacher can use it in explicit instruction and how it doesn't replace our roles and how it never will. But before we get started, we want to talk a little bit with Lauren, why she's here, where she came from. What you got going on, Lauren?
A little bit of everything.
All right, I love that.
Yeah. Well, this is my first year in Westfield, which is exciting, a new change for me. And I previously came from Zionsville, where I was an assistant principal at an elementary school. And then I spent 1 year at central office doing learning and assessment coordination. And previous to that, I was in Noblesville as a teacher. I taught 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades. And now I'm here, assistant principal at the intermediate school. I'm loving it, getting to know a lot of kids, a lot of faces, a lot of new names. It's been good.
Excellent. I love that. And so my daughter's at the intermediate school.
So is mine.
I always ask, I'm like, have you seen Mrs. Kersey today? She's like, I'm like, this is what she looks like.
There's 1,600 children. Like, it's that in itself is a learning curve, you know. And I've learned a lot of names, but I can't say I've learned all of them yet. So
well, get on it.
But
I know.
Bryn did introduce herself to me one day in lunch early in the school year. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, we did play like, you're looking for this face.
I love it. Where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo? Find
I did not wear red and white stripes.
Well,
she
we
found
tried.
me.
Better coordination next time, I suppose.
I'll work on it.
All right. Well, we're super excited because I know you and I have talked a little bit about technology in the classroom and some things that you were seeing. So when we jump and dive in, first I want to think about, I know when I was a classroom teacher and even in my role now, I always want to know what admin's kind of thinking. Like, why are you in my room right now? I don't know. What do you think, Shelly? Like when you think of admin coming into your room as like when you were in the classroom?
Oh yeah, instant butterflies. It's you know, it's up here but also not up here. It's somebody giving you a different lens on your space that you are normally the master of, and so it's a humbling feeling, but also a little bit exciting to show what you're doing and how you're supporting students, because we all get into this profession because we love our content and then we love working with students, and being able to share that with like-minded individuals is exciting. Daunting, but exciting.
Yeah. Well, the first thing to remember is that we've been in your shoes, right? Like we've all been teachers. For me, it wasn't too long ago, you know, and so we all relate to that. And I always say, I'm in a classroom to celebrate all the amazing things that are already happening in your room that you're doing on a regular basis. I'm just here to highlight those and to share those out and to reflect those back to you as a teacher. And that's why we spend so much time outside of evaluations and observations practicing best practice. You know, that's why we do professional development. That's why we do coaching cycles. That's why we're always those ongoing learners, so that when that one moment in time comes when an administrator's in your room for 10 minutes, you just keep doing your thing. And we know that you're doing good things day in and day out. And again, I'm just there to help celebrate and showcase that with you. So one of the big features I always look for is, you know, what are students doing? How are they engaged in the learning? How are they able to demonstrate and articulate their learning? And less so on what specifically the teacher is doing, but how is that impacting students in the way that they're engaging in that work? I
love that take though, because it's nice to know that someone's coming in to help me engage my students, because actually you got the two right people across the table from you here. We love student engagement. Like,
yeah,
it's our jam.
It's our jam.
I love it.
We have t-shirts.
Love
we
it.
did, but we will. Maybe.
Right.
But that is my favorite part, which is why I love my role so much with technology, because it's an easy way to snag those kids, especially in today's day and age. And we always want to make sure, I mean, the right way isn't the words that I want to use, but you know what I mean? Like in a way in which is most beneficial to where they're going to be in 5 years, where they're going to be in 10 years.
We always say we're preparing kids for jobs we don't even know about, right?
100%.
And that's a true statement.
Absolutely. And so I know when we were talking a little bit before the show, we were talking about ways in which students can engage with technology and maybe some things that you've seen or you're looking forward to seeing. How about, can you showcase, and I'm going to put you on the spot because we did not talk about this, what is like one genius way that you've seen some engagement that has included some technology?
Oh gosh, you really did put me on
I
the
did
spot
put you on
there.
the spot. And we can pause the recording and we'll re-record when you're ready.
I like it. Well, there's just so many tools. It's less about the specific tools. That's probably more your area of expertise, as it is like the best implementation of technology in my mind is when it's a way for students to extend what knowledge they've acquired from the teacher, right? Like the teacher is still the person who should be guiding the teaching and learning, right? Like they're the professional who's been trained in this. They should be facilitating that. They can be responsive in ways that technology can't. And so the best examples of using those tools are when it's not replacing teachers, right? Like it's not taking their place. It's not just substituting what they are doing, but it's actually extending that. So maybe I've seen like Nearpod when kids are able to investigate learning on their own. It's kind of that student-led piece, or students who are engaged in like a genius hour type project, where they're able to leverage technology tools to access information on their like independent learning progress. This is really simple, but it has profound impact on student learning growth, is the way that some teachers have utilized even like Google Docs to provide immediate feedback to their writing. I mean, that's simple, right? Like we all have access to it. That's easy, but a teacher going in and looking at student writing and providing that immediate, specific, targeted feedback to kids, even while they're working on it independently in the classroom. And then that teacher's going in and saying, hey, what do you think about this? Or don't forget to add this.
Well, what I love about that too is that, I don't know if any of you ever felt this as a student, but like when I would feel the teacher behind me as I was writing, because I wasn't on a computer a lot, maybe in high school, but like when I was writing and you could feel them and they're just there to check out how I'm doing and give me some feedback in the moment. But that's a whole shadow over my...
Well, in the way that sometimes teachers feel that when an administrator walks in, right? Kids are feeling that when the teacher is right there too.
But with what you simply said, how great is it that I'm in the middle of writing whatever I'm writing for my teacher, she's reading it or he's reading it in a space that I don't know that they're reading it. They're at their desk or they're moving around or they're meeting with groups, but then they're also maybe monitoring what we're doing. And then I get a little chat bot that just pops up or a comment on my writing, and I can digest that and not feel like I have to do it in that moment.
Right.
Or, like even like I put you on the spot here. Well, when you have that teacher looming behind you and they ask you that question, like you're in that space. And for me as a student, it's nice that I could have a comment that I can digest and I can go back and redo. I don't know. So it's like a great connection for me.
I agree. I think creating that little like anonymity in the moment when you're being given feedback, it's a very personal moment for you. And so having technology to help bridge those kind of big feelings that can come up when you're receiving constructive criticism, and having your own space to process it, I think is a good mechanism for our world.
Yeah, and then you can come back together in person and have those conversations.
For sure.
But you have that that time to digest it first and not be so on the spot. Well, it leads perfectly into a little game we're going to play. We're going to play Finish That Sentence.
Finish that sentence. I feel like a game show music. I was like, I really needed to just say it like that.
On the editing end. Okay, so today's sentence that we are going to fill in the blank, and we'll do two if we have time, but the big sentence that stood out to us was, technology does not replace the teacher, it ... So we're all going to kind of just think at the table, and as listeners too right now, you can be thinking, and after even listening to Lauren, there were a lot of things she already mentioned that follow through with that, right? Technology does not replace the teacher, it... What do you guys think? What comes to mind like for you? You get one shot, one idea. There's millions, but what is one big thing that kind of stands out?
I'm feeling pressure because I want to say like the thing, right? And there is no thing. There's no like one thing, because there's a lot of ways we can embed technology in a helpful way. But if it were me, I'd say technology does not replace the teacher. It amplifies their impact.
Ooh.
I just love that amplification.
I love that verb. I love that verb. I'm a former English teacher, so I love me some good verbiage.
I maybe had some help on that, but that's I love it
We
too.
had some processing, but I hope we made you think we thought of this in the moment.
I love amplify. I love that verb again, amplifying, because it's not, again, the key is to bring in these tools that are going to allow either students to extend their learning or to have a unique experience outside of what they've already had with you, the teacher, but it's not taking the place of what you've already done. I love it.
I love that. For me, my word that really sticks out for me is technology does not replace the teacher. It empowers the teacher to personalize learning, but I also think it empowers the student, right?
Mm-hmm.
It allows that teacher to have that space where, like we kind of already talked about, some of those Google Docs, some of those hyperlinked items where students can get this main idea, this explicit instruction on a topic, and they can run, right? And you can even, I know a lot of teachers like to have a little bit more control, especially in the elementary world. Well, really all of them, I would think. We want to help our students kind of stay on task because we know it's like a rabbit hole out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like technology kind of allows itself for you to set up these mini learning universes, right? Like you have these hyperlinks or you have these videos and you have this little house. So you've laid out this great idea. You've caught the kids' attention. And now through technology, you're empowering them to go deeper, to dive into it, to learn more on their own and bring it to the table. I mean, think about through all of these resources, all the things the kids in your room, let's say you have 25, I'm elementary background, so I've got 25. Some of you out there are going to have 100, 150. They're going to bring back things that you didn't think about. Mm-hmm. So while you had a topic in mind or you had a learning target, you've now set them on fire a little bit to go out there, and they're coming back with so much more. So the word empower for me.
I love it.
At the high school right now, a big initiative is all about formative assessment and feedback. Because if you're the facilitator of knowledge acquisition, you need to have constant touch points during that space to ascertain whether or not students are digesting that information before you move on to new content. And so the STEM technology does not replace the teacher. It provides valuable data-driven insight into where they are and where they need to go the next day. And so, Google Slides, the slide deck is a huge mechanism for giving information out there, at least at the high school. And so something like a Pear Deck where you give some information and then immediately on the spot you have an interactive question built in where they're taking a poll or they're writing their own comments, and it's all controlled by a teacher dashboard so you can hide those squirrely comments from being up there on the board. But you immediately know, like, did they just get what I said? Because there is a knowledge capacity point where students are not taking anything in anymore. And humans in general have capacity.
You can actually see my eyes glaze. I think you've been in the room when you're like, oh, we lost her. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? So I agree.
Very true. So you have to have a brain dump moment in these lessons where it's just not going to be so much content given to them at a time. They have to have that processing space, like you were saying. And I think technology
I can see just like the next step right off of that is how technology isn't going to, again, replace that teacher, but it could also provide targeted support and facilitate practice opportunities specific to what you've just learned from, what you described, like that Pear Deck tool.
Yeah. So if you saw everybody got about this one kiddo, then you know that one kiddo needs a little extra something before coming into class tomorrow. And what could that look like? What could that tiny little enrichment
and that's
personalized learning.
We're just to extend a little bit from is like it still requires that teacher expertise, and that teacher experience. Somebody who's been teaching 10, 15 years, they're going to know exactly what to take from that student input data and how to then respond to it, right? And again, that's the piece of like, I can't just pop a YouTube video up, right? Like I'm not just going to pop a YouTube video up on this topic and say, oh, they can watch this and learn the topic, because I know the kids and I know exactly how they responded to this question yesterday. So now I'm going to take that next step and really dive into my learning progressions and my content and my materials. And I'm going to manipulate this in a way that I know will reach this kid exactly where they are and not just hope on a technology tool to do that for me.
And what's nice too is, so from the elementary world, we do a lot of quick assessments, right? Like just a quick, did they get that little lesson? And I think back to when I was in the classroom. So this was at a time when we didn't have iPads and things like that in every kid's hand, we did a lot of whiteboarding. And we still do that, which is great. There's nothing wrong with a quick whiteboard, little assessment. They pop up their answer, but you have that quick scan. And then you're moving on so quickly to the next thing. And you're like, yeah, I got it. I know who had the wrong thing. And then you're like, crud, I have A, B, and C, but I knew there was a D. Who was it? Well, a lot of these, like, especially like the Pear Decks or your view board does like polls and quizzes and things like that. All that data actually stores. So now you're not reliant on your brain in the moment. So like, you know, when you send those kids off to lunch or recess or whatever, you can now process through that data a little bit and make your plan for tomorrow real quick. You pull up that data. These are the kids who actually missed it, not relying on my brain. That I got the computer data, and now I can go into those items too, right? So the storage piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would, like, what does my bell ringer look like for tomorrow? It maybe is not the same one that I used last year based on being able to go back and reflect on that data point.
That's the art piece of our craft, you know, that comes in, that it's like I'm not just recreating, you know, I'm responding to these people, like real humans in front of me. So
love that. Well, speaking of technology too, I mean, we are obviously seasoned teachers in here. Okay, so I'm in year 20. What did you say?
Oh gosh, 12 or 13. Now I really want to count. I think it says 13 for me. Yeah.
Okay.
15.
How do you have the most user experience?
Maybe I like round up. Let's go with 17.
We were at Butler at the same time.
Well, I actually am a transition to teaching student. So my undergraduate degree was in sports marketing and management as a business minor. I taught in that field for a while, or worked in that field for a while. And then I went back to school.
I rounded up to that 20, but it's like still 18 because 2007 I started teaching, right? Is my math correct? 2007, it's 2025.
That's a lot. I think this is your 17th year then.
17, 18, around there. And a round up to 20. I like it. I like to round up. Guys, I'm 39. I call myself 40. I'm a rounder. It's going to make us sound better when we add all of our years up anyways. All right, let's put it this way.
Great.
It's going to be great. We're at 45 plus. Let's go. If we all went 15, it's 45 plus years of experience at the table. And here's where I love technology is that we get to bring all this real life and we have a thought partner. So I know a lot of you have been hearing about AI and how people are using it. Some people are using it religiously now. It's like part of their everyday workflow. Some people are like, I think it's cool. I'm not even sure how I would use it. And some people are like, no way, it's not for me. Well, here is one of the best ways I love to use it is it's a partner in the room to think with at all times. Like I will ask it about vacations. I want to know what it thinks about vacation. I will let it write an entire 12-day itinerary for me. And then I'm like, no, absolutely not. Excuse me, Gemini, I don't like museums, not into it. And they'll be like, oops, sorry. Let me write it again.
I know, she's so polite.
So polite.
I know. I'm like, ChatGPT uses like proper mannerisms too. It's pretty funny.
ChatGPT is way too, I think it's too like stiff for me. I'm very much into
like
the Gemini. Yeah.
She's your pal.
Buddies.
See, I'm ChatGPT all the way.
I can, I see this for our personality.
I do too.
And that's why we have different resources.
That's right. Different AI tools for
funny.
varied personalities.
So what I went ahead and did is I just popped this in here and I wrote a little stem for us that a little prompt with this stem. And I'm a teacher, so it's always good to identify who you are, just FYI, when you're working with AI. And we're trying to fill in this sentence stem. Technology does not replace the teacher. It ... So I'm going to ask it, can you finish the sentence stem with 10 ideas? And you can be specific, but the best thing is if you ask for 50, odds are you're going to get like 36, and I don't know if she gets fatigued or what. Like, can you finish that list of 50 for me?
It has the arrow at the bottom. You're like, okay, just skip to the end. I'm done waiting for you to load this.
Go.
Okay.
All right, let's kick it in here and let's see what we get. All right, maybe what would be cool too is just like things that stick out. So the first thing that sticks out to me, it's legit number one. Was just enhances is the word that caught mine. And it's true. This should be something that enhances our lesson. It doesn't drive our lesson. It is not the star of the show in a lesson, but it's enhancing it. And it's enhancing to reach students and engage students. And I love that.
I do too. The one that sticks out to me right now is it creates opportunities for collaboration and communication. That's one we haven't talked about yet, but the opportunities for kids to work collaboratively and to practice communicating with one another as well.
And from any space is the component that comes to mind is like they can continue this from their homes but never have to go meet at a library. I remember trying to like get my mom to take me to meet with my group for something. No,
No. Nobody's getting out of their pajamas once they're home,
No,
right?
no.
It's not me.
Yeah, so it's nice because this is where technology helps that space really grow.
Or even that space where they can each contribute to something. Like, you've always got that kid who's real quiet, real shy. They like really struggle to speak up, But this, you provide an environment where then they can at least put their work and thoughts into the workspace, and you get their voice in it, which I love.
And that kind of corresponds to number 9, offers innovative ways to present and explore complex concepts. And it can be in a collaborative space. But I'm thinking of something like a book creator, your favorite, Kristen, that does offer collaborative.
It's the best.
It is the best.
Is it
collaboration?
I can't tell if you're being serious
No.
or facetious.
Oh, I'm being 100%.
Okay, you love book creator.
Yes.
I'm going to wear all book creator t-shirts.
Yes.
I'm a walking advertisement.
We've already plugged book creator in one episode.
I actually stalked the book creator guy. John, if you're listening, I know you'll be on an episode here in a month or so. I stalked him down at a conference 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh my gosh, John's here. I'm going to go find him. I'm like, John, we need
Like
you.
as if you're friends.
As
Like
if we are
you guys
friends.
are buddies.
He rode in my car one time, and he's a detailer of a car.
I have
And
so
it
many
was
questions.
trashed. It was so trashed. It was, my car was just like, I didn't expect that. He was here, and we were, doing like a professional development together, and, we were diving into book creator, and he's like, yeah, I want to go see it. And I was like, yeah, I got a great room. We'll go check it out. I thought he would get in his car, and he just walked with me to mine. And I was like, oh.
But I'm a mom of little ones. I'm a mom of little
I was
ones.
like,
You guys can't see this, but Kristen's making a lot of nervous gestures with her hands.
sweating.
Like she's very nervous. Her face is turning red. It's funny.
It's true. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy. I was like, give me one minute.
One moment,
So,
please.
Like, move my house from
I
my
get
front
it.
seat.
I
And he
get
gets
it.
in, and he was like, we're just casually chatting on
Yeah.
our way to where were we going? We were going to Cary Bridge. And we're casually chatting, and he's like, so I do have another career besides just book creator. I'm like, that's excellent. Like, what is it? He's like, I professionally detail cars.
You were like, that feels targeted.
And I was like,
It's me.
It's like, that's
Nice.
great. And over here on the left, you'll see the public library. Like, I was like, oh boy, okay. But he's actually a really cool guy. His name is John Smith, and he'll give you a whole thing about how nobody believes him that's his name. But that is his name. He's awesome, and I love book creator. And so anyways, at this conference,
I wonder what he would say about what the technology's role is. Like, it doesn't replace the teacher, but I'd be curious. Yeah.
we could save it.
Yeah.
Bookmark that so we bring that back when
Bring it back.
John is here. But anyway, I was like, dude, I need you on our podcast. And he was, of course, like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're going to level up and learn how to Zoom someone in
Love
on a podcast in
Love
about
it.
a month.
Amazing.
So, yeah, innovation with something like book creator, where those really higher level complex concepts can be artistically and creatively produced by a student. And, AI, if we're talking AI, there's the whole using AI to find a shortcut in an assignment. And it's a huge piece, at least at the high school right now. And so creating those authentic assessments where students are showing their personal learning journey through something like a creative book creator, that cannot be copied from AI. So creating assessments where it can't be outsourced is a good shift to kind of combat that piece that we're facing. But I love number 9.
Yeah. And one thing also that I'm seeing just thoughtfully and intentionally, and I think that's a huge piece as well, because I like to live on the edge and just, I'm where the wind blows is where I go. So the word thoughtful and intentional, I like, because I think that can be difficult for me. Even like as a teacher, it's like if a thought comes in my mind, I want to roll it out. Right.
Yeah.
But also I think it's important to dive in, like, why truly are we doing it? And why is it amplifying my lesson? Why is it helping students?
It's like, how does it fit into this bigger picture of what I'm trying to accomplish, right? Like, and again, this is about like, you're utilizing technology for a specific purpose to gain a specific end goal in mind, right? Which is student growth, right? We want kids to keep learning. We want them to keep developing. And how does that fit into this larger like umbrella of all the different things I do? It should be one component of many things that we do.
I agree. I love that. Okay, so we were going to do a second STEM here, but I think we are out of time today, guys. So we're going to...
Time flies when you're having fun.
We're having fun, and we're talking technology and how it makes us awesome.
It really does. But don't ever forget that the teacher is what makes it awesome, right?
true.
It doesn't, how many of us have been teaching across content, right? We've gone through a lot of different curricular materials over the years, or maybe we've taught in different buildings, or maybe we've taught in different like systems and structures that are set up. And what makes the teaching and learning incredible are the teachers who are in there doing the work day in and day out, and they're gathering all their experiences and all their knowledge to create an environment that's that kids can learn and excel. So it's the teacher. It's not the tool, and it's not the materials. It's the teacher.
Love it. Well, remember,
Stay techie as heck.